I'm joined by Senator Ruben Gallego here to talk about the uproar surrounding the video that his fellow Senator Mark Kelly made. Now Mark Kelly under investigation by the Pentagon. Why is this happening and why right now?
For a couple reasons. Number one, the president needs a distraction. And, things just aren't going well for him, right? The economy is as poorly as it is right now. His approval numbers are, in the dumps. The Epstein files are coming out. All these things, and right now he just wants to distract. Number two, he does think the military is his personal toy, that he can do whatever he wants from him. There was a reminder that was put together by some, veterans, some patriots, that is a very common understanding that we all have to even swear by, that you can ignore illegal orders. There was nothing that said they shouldn't. They didn't say these are what you should be looking out for. They were just giving people a reminder of the oath that they took. And this president doesn't like being reminded he's not the all-powerful person within the government. And by the way, that's by design. That's what our founding fathers decided to do. He just doesn't like that there's checks and balances on him.
We were talking earlier, you made the point that Mark Kelly is being singled out for a very specific reason that has to do with his length of service.
The only reason they could do this is because Mark Kelly was that dedicated to his country that he hit the full retirement. And if he had not done that, if he was like someone like me who only served for 6 years, the UCMJ, Uniform Corps of Military Justice, can't reach out and touch him. So basically, he's being punished for serving as long as he did his country in an honorable way.
Because he hit 20 years, and that way they can go after him.
Correct. Yeah.
So to speak. Talk about this idea of orders and refusing an order. Yeah. You were in the Marines.
That's right.
Was there ever a time when you thought, that order might not be legal?
No, because there was such professionalism within our military, and there is deep professionalism in the military, and also because it is ingrained in every man and woman that serves the military that you can ignore an illegal order that's given to you by your commanding officer. It also put the onus on our commanding officers to not even put us in that situation, right? But then when you have this start all breaking down, when someone like Donald Trump or Secretary Hegseth, basically start using the military for their own political goals, that changes the dynamic. So there's a reason why the reminder was kind of being put out there, even though we do get those reminders all the time from military personnel while we're in. But
is it breaking down? Is the command structure breaking down, if that's what you just said?
I'm seeing the command structure break down. It hasn't gotten fully, but what you're seeing is a total politicization of our military. You're seeing officers that are being promoted or demoted, depending on their political affiliation, depending on what they've done in the past or have not done in the past in politics, which I think is ridiculous, or their opinion. And so you've seen the militarization of our cities. You have the Marines in LA, you have National Guardsmen in Chicago and in other parts of the country, something that's not been seen before. So there clearly is the start of a breakdown, something that we're just not used to seeing as a country, and this is why you have people that have served in the military that are trying to give warning signs that we need to be aware of.
But there's one commander-in-chief at a time, and it's the president, and right now it's President Donald Trump. Doesn't it send a mixed message to the troops? If they even heard this or saw this video, doesn't it send a mixed message to our service members about who's in charge and what they should be listening to? Because Donald Trump's the commander-in-chief.
Well, there's always going to be a commander-in-chief, but your highest duty is the Constitution of the United States. And part of that is to uphold that. Secondarily, you have the right to disobey illegal orders. You always had that, whether it was under Obama, whether it was under Biden, whether it was under Trump. And so the commander-in-chief will always be there. This is not us. This is not the Senate. This is not the House saying that we are the other party here. We're just reminding people that they have to abide by the Constitution of the United States and the oath they took.
Is a better way to do this to handle it in the Senate or in the House, these issues, these concerns? Why isn't that being done?
Well, I think one of the things that a lot of us are concerned about is that sometimes when we handle things of that nature, it's already past the point of no return. We don't want to see conflict in our streets between our civilians and our military leadership. We don't want to see that breakdown happening. So it's better off that we actually talk about this now. And look, this is also a concern of what we're hearing about from phone calls, right? It's not just me, but a lot of members of Congress, whether they're veterans or not, have been receiving phone calls from family members, people in the military, or military personnel themselves, that they're worried that they may find themselves in that type of situation. And again, we kind of start seeing something, right? Why were the Marines in downtown LA? Why do we see National Guardsmen in cities that are largely peaceful being able to walk around? Because this president's ordering them to do things that normally most presidents would not.
So do the military, do our service members, don't they deserve the support of people back home and not seeing the fighting like this, which we saw back in the Vietnam era, but don't they deserve that support? How would you feel if you were back, in Iraq, and here you have a major Senate figure and the president just going at each other?
Well, I mean, certainly in Iraq, I would have preferred that because I was in an illegal war that was unjustified and was actually against the national interest of the United States for us to actually go to war in Iraq. I would have actually loved the Democrats and Republicans to be actually fighting President Bush instead of throwing us into the meat grinder of Al-Anbar. Number two, there was protesting happening when I was in Iraq. People were protesting against Iraq war. There was people protesting to make sure I got the body armor and the armor that I needed to keep myself alive. So that's actually very healthy. Lastly, what we're trying to do is actually to preserve people's respect for the military. This president
preserve their respect.
Absolutely. This president is politicizing the military to the point where it's going to erode people's support of the military. By us making sure that people understand that this is an independent body that answers only the Constitution, not to the President of the United States, we're looking out for the long-term relationship between our civilian side of our country and the military.
Doesn't this itself politicize the military? If this message gets through, you could have Marine versus Marine.
Well, again, we trust our military professionals more so than we trust the political people such as Donald Trump, who, again, is only using this to distract from his Epstein problems. But reminding them of their rights does not cause problems. It's when people abuse them, such as the president already has, is where the problem really comes from.
I think I recall in your memoir of your service, you had questions about the mission throughout.
Absolutely. Yes.
And it wasn't just the challenges you faced, but the real questions about why are we doing this?
That's right.
Did that ever take you to the point where you wanted to say, hang on, the order may not have been illegal, but it's wrong?
I never encountered anything that was an illegal order. Wrong is different from illegal order. Wrong is a question of morality, and I think we were wrong to go to Iraq, but I couldn't cross the line to refuse service. This is a difficult situation. When you're dealing with the military versus your American public, I think the lines can be very, very clear.
Was there a better way to do this than just putting the video out there?
I don't know, but I also know that where this has escalated to is entirely because of this president. It's not because, Senator Kelly is doing his job and reminding people that serve in the military about their rights. This is all because this president has escalated. Let's be clear where we are right now. Prior to this, he was retweeting people that said that these senators and congressmen should be hanged, that they should be arrested for sedition. And then he basically ordered his Secretary of Defense to do this investigation. This is all upon him. This is all him escalating because he's a petty small man who is losing power, and this is the only way he can really grasp and distract at the same time. So the idea that somehow these veterans are responsible for reminding military members of the rights they already have versus him who is supposed to have the responsibility of leadership, not escalate a situation, he's in the wrong here.
What position does this put Senator Kelly in? Does he now have to assume he might face some kind of legal action? Does he have to lawyer up right now?
Well, absolutely. I think he has to defend himself. He has to be prepared for the defense himself. I think it's going to be a very tough situation for the military to do this, the JAG Corps to do this, if they put a court together, because if these officers, abuse their power and go after a U.S. Senate sitting senator, there will be consequences to that, because this president will be gone someday. And people need to recognize there will be consequences for these types of abuses of power.
What are those consequences? What could they be?
Whatever is allowed on the UCMJ, which according to President Trump is a lot.
So we're weaponizing every area of the law.
The only thing you can actually answer to this type of aggression is by making sure there's accountability afterwards. And people within the United States military are subject to the UCMJ if they are using their power to go after sitting senators that are duly elected in a democracy, there will be consequences to that.
Is that a message also to the soldiers who might be in LA or Chicago or anywhere else?
This is the message that every military member has to understand. You're always subject to civilian leadership and to the UCMJ. That's what we've always understood. That's what we always knew when I was in. Just because Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth have big opinions on themselves, they will be gone someday. You will still be in the military and or subject to the UCMJ. So do not listen and do something that is above an abuse of power, because there will be consequences to that, especially when you're going after duly elected members of Congress.
Senator Ruben Gallego, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.